Hello everyone, and welcome to Shinee Chats. So Shinee, as you may know, has a lot of content out there. Like a lot of content. Like from 2008 up until today, there's been very few breaks of content in those years, which means that there's just so much that how can you possibly keep track of it all? If you can keep track of it all, good on you, I bow down to you. I have makeup on my fingers, but I can't keep track of it all. Honestly, I can't keep track of everything that Shinee does, and I think that that is okay. As a showl, that is okay. But I thought that I would do something for this video where I'm gonna talk about some of my just standout moments for each year of Shinee's release. I'm gonna do them in each separate videos though, just so that each moment has its chance to shine. And I think that would be fun. If there's any moments from these years that I missed or didn't talk about, please leave them down in the comments. And maybe I'll do a part 2 to some of the years, because I definitely have more moments in some years than others. Mostly that's just based on how active I was in actively watching everything that they did. Because some years, a bit, you're busy or whatever. Or they're on kind of hiatus like they are right now, kind of, where they're active but not really active as a group. You know what I mean. But we're gonna start with 2008 as the first year of moments. So if you were a showl back in 2008, maybe this will bring up some nostalgic memories of moments that you forgot about or haven't seen in a long time. And if you're a newer showl, maybe these are videos you've never seen or moments you've never seen or heard of, and this can give you a chance to go back and look back on the wonderful world of baby Shinee. So the first thing that I want to talk about, which I feel does not get talked about ever anymore, which makes me so sad, is Shinee's first variety show, which was Shinee Yunhanam. The show itself, fair enough if maybe you don't want to go and rewatch it. It was a bit of a weird concept because it was basically because their song Nuna no Myepo had just come out and it was huge, and Nuna is for older woman, girl. So this Shinee's Yunhanam, each episode they'd have an older woman come in and date the boys. And by older woman, I literally mean they were in their 20s. They were not old women, they were just in their 20s, but Shinee was teenagers, so it was a bit of a weird thing, and they'd have a group date, and then then the girl would pick one of the members to go on a solo date with, and that would each of them wanted to get chosen, and obviously they had 5 episodes, so each member got chosen for an episode, and it was very clear that they catered each girl to one of the Shinee members. One of the girls was a dancer, so of course she picked Taemin, and it was a bit weird, but I feel it was weird in the same way that everybody knew it was weird. The girls knew it was weird, the boys it was weird for everybody, but it was just, Shinee just hanging out. Honestly, the best moments are Shinee hanging out with each other. But my favorite part of that show was not the show itself, but was the behind the scenes clips.
완벽한 턱선, 날카로운 콧날, 크로마키인데요? 큰 눈, 완벽해, 나 이상형이야.
찍으면 안 돼요?
네, 감독님?
네.
그냥
아파요.
나도 아프다.
어디가?
The link that I'll leave, hopefully I can figure out how to do it to leave the link to the playlist that that exists of all of the behind the scenes moments, because there's a whole bunch of parts of them, but those are the ones that I highly recommend that you go and watch if you've never seen them, because that is just peak watching Shinee hang out as teenagers, because it's obviously behind the scenes, so they're not actively filming, but they're on these different sets, and they're so fun. They're just, God, they're so fun. There's the one when Taemin was on his date and the other 4 members go to karaoke and they're singing, and it's mostly Onyu, Jonghyun, and Ki, because Minho at this point was in his I'm not allowed to speak era, so he was kind of just sitting there. And then there's one clip where Onyu falls asleep on the ground like this, behind Jonghyun and Ki as they're singing, and so then they go to wake him up and a piece of paper is stuck to his face, and it's so funny. Or in that same behind the scenes thing, they're trying to get Minho to sing a Girls' Generation song, the one that I'll put the song here, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's and so and he stands up and they're yeah, he's good to sing, so they put the mic up to him and then he just does the little dance, and it was so cute. And then, oh my gosh, there's just so many. The one where they're on the plane And this was definitely like peak, like Key and Jonghyun were definitely the loudest members of Shinee, but they were talking and like they started doing this whole bit where they were pretending to be the stewardesses, like Key was pretending to be the stewardess and being like,
네 여러분, 저희 키 항공사에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 우선 저희들에게 우선 여러분들께 잠깐 말씀드리자면 탈출구는 없습니다. 여기는. 여기로
네, 화장실로 들어가서 일단 뚜껑을 열고 그 밑으로 탈출하시면 됩니다. 네, 구명조끼는 없고요. 네, 산소 마스크 끼고 던지시면 됩니다.
산소 마스크는 비행기와 연결되어 있기 때문에 그리고 뛰어내리시면 번지 점프가 되는 거죠.
그럼 산소 마스크를 뜯으세요. 이렇게 산소 마스크를 뜯으면 그래도 뭐 산소가 들어가겠죠, 알아서.
네, 더 많이 들어와요.
네, 알아서 들어가겠죠.
그렇죠.
그리고 여러분, 좌석 밑에 보시면 기내식이 준비되어 있습니다. 좌석 밑에 기내식.
things like that. Like it was just very silly, funny, silly, I'm a teenager moment. And the one where they're like in the school and they see like all of the like the names that were like written on the desk from like the students and stuff. I think that, unless I'm getting that wrong with School of Rock, but either way, they're wonderful. Please like go watch those if you want some like Shinee hanging out with each other moments. And they're pretty short too, so it's not like you're committed to a huge long segment of behind the scenes. They're short, concise ones. Oh my god, there's also the one where I think they're in their dorm potentially, and there's a clip and so Key would carry around this microphone, but it was made out of like a popsicle stick and tinfoil, and that's what he would use because he was always like fake MC. And so Taemin has more tinfoil and he's like making the ball bigger for the microphone, and Key walks in and he goes, I thought I told you not to touch my stuff. And Taemin's like, no, I'm feeding it, like I'm filling it up. And they're like, wait, and he's like, well, it's lopsided. And he's like, yeah, I'm filling in the lopsided parts because we're going to a water park and there's lots of softer sounds, so you need a bigger microphone. And then Key has like a Jolly Rancher and he goes, does Taemin want a candy? And then Taemin goes, yeah.
재민이 사탕 먹을까? 네.
And then Key opens the Jolly Rancher and like feeds him the candy. It's so cute. And then they're like, wait, where's Minho? And then some staff says, oh, he's sleeping. And they're like, he's sleeping? Like already? Wow. I've watched that one quite a few times, but it was so cute. It was so cute. So go watch Shinee Yunhanam behind the scenes. Another thing that I feel like I want people to know about, because it's one of my favorite videos from Baby Shinee that's ever existed, and that is their pop magazine behind the scenes thing. Again, it'll be linked down below. But I think it was from like a magazine that they were doing, and it was behind the scenes of this like magazine shoot that they were doing. And it's just like so fun because it's mostly silent, or just like there's music or some music playing because they're like doing videos and stuff, so they're not actually able to talk, but it's mostly Key and Jonghyun, as a lot of these videos were. But Jonghyun has like a dinosaur on his sweater, and so he backs up and he like copies it, and then Key copies it. So cute. And then Onyu and Taemin were like, Onyu like went down, and then Taemin like, you know, did this sort of thing that Onyu raised to make it like raised. I'll put little snippets of it so you understand what I'm saying, but it was so cute. And they tried to like show Minho, but then Minho just like walked away because again he was very silent, which was fun. Or there's that slow motion thing where like Onyu was like pretend slow motion walking across the camera thing. I just loved seeing them like just like hanging out kind of in these situations. Like those are always like my favorite videos to watch. And so yeah, that pop time behind the scenes video I watched so many times. It's so fun. Ooh, other ones that I feel like I want people to know about are their Mcountdown skits. So I don't know when they stopped doing these skits. It's been a very long time, but if you didn't know, Mcountdown, to like show who was nominated for the Song of the Week or the award or whatever, would have these like skits that were done by different groups or different artists, and they were the best thing ever. They were so cheesy, but the absolute best thing that has happened to K-pop. They did a Harry Potter parody. Kills me every time because I was a huge Harry Potter fan back in the day, so like watching them do a Harry Potter parody is so funny because like Taemin's like dead and they're like, oh my god, we gotta resurrect him, so Shinee Expelliarmus into like a crystal ball.
안 돼, 태민아. 이대로 죽을 순 없어.
너만이 최고의 가수가 되는 비법을 알고 있어.
태민이를 살리기 위한 마지막 비법이야.
And then Onyu's the bad guy. Onyu, Expelliarmus. And then they go and they fight him. And then Minho beats Onyu with his flaming charisma. It's so funny. Oh, I just love it so much. It was so ridiculous.
익스펙트 페트로놈! 정확하게 에프티 페트로놈! 민호, try it right. 아니, 이건 불꽃 카리스마!
They did a Beethoven parody. It was based on that K-drama Beethoven thing. I don't watch K-drama, so I don't know what the drama was called. That one where he's like the music teacher, and then Jonghyun is just like, and then he's like dong dong ah 리.
순위 공개를 꼭 이렇게 모여서 해야 되는 겁니까? 지훈아. 어느 카바레 소속이야?
불광동 돈대법. 제가 좀 부족했습니다.
아줌마 같은 사람들 세상에서 뭐라 그러는지 알아요? 똥, 리. 네가 천재야? 나와! 이건 뭐야?
음악 시간에 잡다고 몇 번이나 말씀드려요.
이거 몰라? 뭐 하자는 거야? 화음을 말하라니까.
시드레, 미플레, 파샵, 라플레.
This is so ridiculous. This is like, if you haven't seen these, this whole part just makes absolutely no sense to you. I'm sorry, but they're so good. And like, again, why don't they do these anymore? They were so lighthearted and fun, and I felt like added a lot of like, just like fun weirdness to those music shows that I feel like are less fun and weird now. Just cause, you know, times are changing though, which is fair enough, that's fine. Now I imagine that if you are a Shinee fan, you've probably already seen this, but if you haven't, I would really recommend you go watch their debut showcase.
You said I never been like that. The fall so fast. No, you can put me on track. You feel like, make me feel like I wanna do a little something. They know the way to do it for sure. The bed is burning me on.
Just because that was like the only like pre-debut promotion that Shinee got, like was that, and I feel like it again, and just seeing like their weird hair, it's like, well, it's like, wow, like their pre-debut like non-idol hair, like when they were just like kind of regular people, even though they were very close to debuting at the time. I just think it's like an integral part of like seeing how Shinee was, because like Shinee again didn't have a lot of pre-debut promotion, so it's not like people, oh my god, we're so in love with them because they had all this pre-debut like songs or promotions or variety shows or survival shows or anything. Like nobody really knew who they were. And then but then this video, people were like, oh, like, okay, awesome. Like you got to see them dance, but you also got to hear them sing, like Jonghyun and I believe Onyu as well. You got to hear them sing. So like they gave you a little snippet, and obviously Jonghyun's voice, and Onyu's voice, or like, we're like, oh, people are like, holy shit. Like wowie wowie. These dudes in their big pants. Wow. And then, so like, I really recommend that you go watch their debut showcase. And they also did that, that performance in their debut outfits in that like gym. I don't know where they were, I can't remember where they were, but they were in that gym. I think it had like a green floor. They did that, there's like that fan cam of them. It's like sort of off to the side and they're in the gym. Where they did, what was it, Run It? I think it was Run It. Is that the song that they did? So yes, they danced to Run It and Do It Well were the two songs that they danced / sang to, and like, it's so good. They did, though, and then they did those performances like a couple of other times after they debuted, but this was sort of like you know, as their pre-debut, like look at me and my dancing. And again, I like that it got to show off like that Key was a really good dancer, because him and Taemin were kind of like the focal dancer people in these showcases, and I feel like it got, because I feel like just Key was always underappreciated because he was so good at everything that like there wasn't one thing that he was good at, and so people kind of forgot about him, which I think is silly. But I liked that this showed that he was also a comparable dancer to Taemin. Like he was just as good as Taemin. Another variety show, sort of, I guess, that Shinee was on in 2008 was School of Rock.
기집애 좀 짜지 마. 여드름은 지가 빵 하고 터질 때까지 기다려야 돼.
라 왜? 오늘 일부러 늦게 나왔는데도 스토커가 집 앞에서 기다리고 있는 거 있지?
Which is also an interesting one. Again, I think it's fun. This is the one where they went into a all-girls school, and like after school was over, nobody was there, and then they told spooky stories, and then they did a skit, actually dressed as girls. And if you know anything about Shinee and maybe don't know where it came from, there's this picture of Taemin that went super mega viral after that, because, and that's sort of where he looks like a girl kind of came in. Like he was always a pretty boy, but like this really like cemented the deal. I remember there was like lots of people who'd go out on the street and being like, with like a board with like a whole bunch of pictures of girls and one of Taemin, and being like, who's the cutest girl or whatever, and they would show like Taemin was picked all the time, and that was kind of like, that photo I think kind of haunted Taemin for a long time, because it was sort of like brought up a lot, and I think that was probably where a lot of his like, he gets into a bit of his angsty teen phase where he really didn't want to be a pretty boy. He's come into his androgyny, but I think there was a period where he was like, I hate it, I don't want to be a pretty boy. But this is where that came from, if you've ever seen that. The skit itself is actually like, it's pretty good, it's pretty fun. It's kind of cringy and like silly, and I get why they don't maybe do as much of that. Like, oh, let's ha ha ha, we're so funny, let's dress up as girls, beep beep beep. Like, you know, so I get it, but if you remember that it was from a different time and you're just wanting to watch a really stupid horror parody thing with Shinee dressed as girls, like, they were still good actors, like they still did a good job, but it wasn't like so overly ridiculous. Like I think it was still an interesting thing, so I would recommend looking at that, but being aware that like, you can tell that they were kind of like, I don't really want to be doing this, but like, they still acted with their full muscle. Now, like I said, this is like my peak Shinee era. Like I just love every single time that I'll type in like Shinee 2008 and I'll watch all the videos, and I just love them all so much. Like I just love them all so much. And like I just remember like watching them so many times, and I just love them so much. But one of my favorite performances that they did was actually an Amigo performance. And so this was obviously the era that I got into Shinee, right? Like this is my intro into Shinee, and my intro song into Shinee was Amigo. And I love Amigo so much. It's still in among my top favorite songs, and it always makes me so sad that because it was a repack song, it really wasn't performed. I mean, it was promoted, but then it hasn't really been performed a lot since, and if it has been, it's always the remix. Like they haven't actually performed that song in a really long time, which is fair, it's fine, but like I love it so much. And Taemin's hair was so cute. Like, why didn't they keep it like that? Why did they put it back to the bowl cut? Like I love the bowl cut. I think the bowl cut is great, but his hair was so cute in Amigo. And it was such a short period of time. But a couple of my favorite performances are their debut performance for Amigo, when they're in their Amigo outfits, like with the big sweaters and the big shoes, like the skater shoes. I love that style. I tried to emulate it, but I do not have the body of a Shinee member, so it didn't necessarily work as well for me as it did for them. But I loved that style of like the really skinny jeans, but like the big shoes, and then like the big sweater. And Taemin's sweater had ribbons on it, and I think like dominoes or something. But, like ribbons, like oh, it was just so cool. And like, ugh. And honestly, like I don't know. I know Key like looks back at his old like any old pictures and it's like ugh. But I liked Key's hair. I think this was a good Key hair look for him. There's also another performance they did. It was like the Water Environment Awards or something, and they were in like gray like suits kind of. That's also a really good performance for Amigo that I would recommend that you go watch. And I think that they actually still do these. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I don't keep up as much with newer groups, but maybe they still do sometimes the like no smoking songs. Shinee of course did one, because I feel like every K-pop group at some point has done a no smoking song. Maybe they don't do them anymore, but they used to a lot. But their no smoking one, when they're in like the school uniforms, like the green school uniforms. It's so bad. Like it's so bad, but it's so good. Like the song is fun, but it's so stupid. And like, it's just like, oh, it's so stupid when Taemin like goes up and he like, they're also playing that game. Can anybody explain this rock, paper, scissors game to me? I know that I've seen it in the past, like in other like K-pop, for other K-pop groups have done it, but like what is the point of this rock, paper, scissors game? I don't understand the game, but they do that, and then Jonghyun and Onyu are eating fries. and Minho's playing basketball as he is. It's a fun one. Like it is kind of a catchy song, which I love. I love when they made like the like commercial songs, but they were also super catchy. Like that's fun, because I'm like, then it makes me want to actually listen to the song, like just apart from like it being an anti-smoking thing. I honestly think, because this is way before like streaming services existed, I honestly think I might have even downloaded this song like YouTube to MP3 player and like listened to it like just as a song back in the day. I'm sure I did. Ooh, there was also a performance, what was it? It was at the Style Icon Awards where they did like a dance performance to, no, I think they sang also to Step by Step, and then Taemin did a very short Billie Jean dance break thing. But the step-by-step thing was so awkward because they had to like walk downstairs. They had like choreography down the stairs, but it was like kind of not coordinated. And so it was just kind of awkward. But I mean, that was like, they used to do stuff like that, you know, which was like, they also, I don't know what year that was that they did more Michael Jackson stuff. Because Taemin was often compared to Michael Jackson in the sense of like his dancing ability, like doing the moonwalk and stuff. So he did the dance break often to like Michael Jackson, but this is one, I think it might have been maybe the first time when he did just a little tiny dance break to Billie Jean. And then actually the last video that I'll talk about, the last moment, I guess, video moment from 2008 that I'm gonna talk about is the SMTOWN 2008 behind the scenes like rehearsal video.
지금 조금 전에 리허설을 끝냈는데요. 지금이 한국 시간으로 1시 21분입니다. 진짜요? 재밌었죠?
야, 진짜 저는요 마치 콘서트 하는 것 같았어요.
진짜 콘서트 할 때 그 여러분이 이렇게 소리 질러 주시는 것 같고 막 아무도 안 계신데
제 혼자 막 헤이 소리 질러.
태국은 추운 나라예요.
It's so cute. Again, I just love Shinee hanging out with each other, just like being boys hanging out. This is like in the venue and they're like on like a go-kart or something. And like, just like, they're just like fucking wheeling around and like, you know, and just talking and being excited. And obviously it's very late, so they're kind of just like, woo! And Taemin like does a big like, you know, he just like, I don't know. They just act like kids, which I like to see. Like I didn't, you know, because they were kids. So I like they got to like act like kids. And then they, you know, did that thing where, and he had this, Taemin had the sweater on when they're doing like the talking bit and they were cold, and then he tries to unzip his thing because he had like that really weird tank top where it was like a belt buckle or something on one side, and it was very strange. And again, that made no sense to anyone, but like it's a fun video of them just hanging out and being boys and being Shinee, and I just liked casual Shinee. That was always my favorite, which is my best. But yeah, I think that is probably a good place to end it for some of my top 2008 moments. If there's any other moments from 2008 that I missed or you think people should know, leave them in the comments. And again, maybe I will do a part 2 to this because there's an endless amount of videos that I could talk about in this. And then yeah, like I said, at some point I will kind of every once in a while I'll kind of keep going to a new year and talk about moments from different years, hopefully up until 2023. So I got a lot of years to go, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if there's any other things you want me to talk about Shinee. mostly in this thing. I have lots of ideas for things that I want to talk about, but like let me know, and let me know if you like this sort of format or not, or whatever. Make sure to follow me, I guess, or subscribe, whatever. I also have an Etsy shop where I sell like K-pop stickers and stuff. If you're interested in that, you can go there, because I do art quite often. You can also follow me on Instagram if you would like. And then I do have like a Twitter and a Tumblr. I don't use them as much, but you can feel free to follow me there as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.